with your channel, there's such a variety of projects that you choose to do. And I'm always curious about your process for deciding to make a video. Is it, I'm going to do this table for jigsaw puzzles anyway, why don't I just film it? Or is it, I have an idea for a video, this table I think would be really fun and people would resonate with it, let's make it a project. Like how do you start with a project?
It's a little bit of both. I think it's like, for me, the video has kind of become the excuse to go down these build rabbit holes.
Okay.
And it's very much like, I don't think I would have self-motivated to build a mechanical puzzle table. So it's a table where you can switch between two tabletops.
Yeah.
So you can work on a jigsaw puzzle, but then you can switch the tabletops and you can use it as a dinner table. Yeah, I don't think I would be self-motivated enough to like go and do that because it took so much work. But it's really like the video aspect of it is the excuse that I can use to be like, no, I can spend 2 months designing this table. It's
like the ultimate IKEA project. Like I could never put that. Also, there's the amount of like engineering ingenuity you have to invent something basically. Like this table doesn't exist, so you need to go through the process of thinking about how it needs to be made and building these things and trial and error. That's a fun video. Like all of that is entertaining to go through with you as you go through it.
Yeah, it's like IKEA off-road. Off-roading, and you're like, there's no manual for this. Yeah, I think there's always like so I'll have an idea of something I want to do, and then I do like a cursory Google search to be like, has anybody done this before? Partly to see how other people might have done it, but also to like, if it has been done, then I'm not as interested in it.
Okay.
And there's always the part where you're like, has nobody done this before? Because
there's a good reason.
I'm like somehow magically the only person who's thought of this, or because it's a really bad idea in a way that I haven't predicted.
Right.
And it's about a 50-50 split.
Interesting. I have two questions. So one of them, have you ever scrapped videos in the middle? Like, this is too much?
No.
You've gone to the end of every project you started on camera.
Honestly, the video I was working on last week, it was the first time where I've like genuinely thought about giving up.
Yeah.
I was making this robot arm out of stained glass, like old-timey stained glass window, but it's a mechanical robot arm. So you're using this like really old build technique to build this hyper-modern object, and it just kept on breaking. And that was the first time where it broke. I yelled really loudly, and then I was like, can I just give up? Is this it? I'm done.
Yeah.
Bye. And then 5 minutes later, I come back and I'm like, okay, but what if I do it like this? So I think I'm just too stubborn. I don't know.
There are a good amount of videos that I've seen that turn out really well, even though the project did come to a halt, where they like realized, oh, this isn't how it's going to work out. I think Mark Rober had a video like this similarly, where they're like, well, let's pivot and make something different, or let's like change it up a little bit because this one won't work. I mean, a robot out of stained glass sounds impossible if you ask me, but I've never built a robot, so.
Yeah, no, you go through it and you're like, this was a really dumb idea from the start. Why did I do this? But now I'm glad that I did. And I have this object that I'm terrified of breaking.
For sure. So you come up with the ideas. How do you know if you're going to be able to do it at all? Like, I think of Truckla as the ultimate, no one's ever going to be able to do this project. Just like on its face. Like, I'm going to take a Tesla Model 3 and I'm going to cut the back off and turn it into a truck. Shouldn't work. Probably just shouldn't work. But if you put enough thought and effort into all the things that you did, it will.
But the thing is, it's like, so 2 points about that. One, I'm like, I should start tracking my mood throughout every build, because I think I go through a lot of the same emotional swings through every build. Like every build has a part where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to pull this together. This is never going to work out. And it also has the parts of like, I'm the queen of the world. But then the second part is one of the benefits of having a YouTube channel, and that kind of shields me from failure, is that every build has two outcomes, or like two products that come out of it. One is the build itself, and then it's the video.
Yeah.
So with Truckla, like that is an incredibly risky project, but I could take it on because even if the build was a failure, I knew I would get a video out of it. Yeah. So I think it's, every project runs the risk of not working out, but at least I'll be able to salvage it into something.
Interesting. And so you still drive every day? That's your daily driver vehicle?
It was for like 2-3 years, but then now I've gotten a Volvo C40.
Oh, I like
Don't
that thing
tell
too.
anyone.
The recharge, the electric one?
Yeah.
I like that too.
I like it. It was just like Truckla is absolutely amazing, but we were going to do more work on her. So she was going to like go under car surgery for a while. And also it's like I get doxxed every time I drive it.
You're the only one on the road.
Yeah.
What is that like driving it? Did you get pulled over? Are there people who are just like pointing? I imagine a lot of pointing and cameras and things like that.
I mean, and that's fine. I think people following me was the stuff that was really scary.
Yeah.
People taking photos outside of my house with it, or like I remember somebody following me up a cul-de-sac when I was like going to visit a friend, and and it's like two guys in a car. And I was just like, hey, I understand you probably have really good intentions, but this is really scary for me to like be followed by two people I don't know up a dead end street.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to talk about my car right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most people don't give a fuck about who I am. Like they're just interested in the car or think like it's a secret Tesla prototype that they just spotted.
That there is that whole culture too around Tesla where like there are whole like spy channels. Have you seen these? Where
No.
So Tesla's got this like Fremont test track and all these factories and stuff like that. People will literally go take a drone, take off from a nearby parking lot across the street and go fly over Tesla's stuff and just like fly the drone up to people and up to things and take videos of it and post that online.
Yeah.
And people will find neat things in those. Oh, they're testing the Cybertruck over here today. And that's an article. And that's a whole thing. So if people see the new Tesla Model 3 Highland project driving around on the street, people will actually follow it around to get videos of it to put it on YouTube. So that also surrounded Truckla, I'm sure, with just like people not knowing what it is and wanting to be curious about it.
No, for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. But how do you like the Volvo? I feel like the XC40 was one of my favorite EVs when I first tested it.
So I have a C40, which is, just slightly different. But I'm surprised by how much I love it. Like I thought I wasn't going to be, because I was looking at buying another car and I wasn't excited about any of the EVs. And I wanted another electric pickup truck, but like the Ford F-150 and the Rivian are just giant. Like they're physically so big and they're also so expensive. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that amount of money unless it's something that I absolutely love. So I was feeling really lukewarm about all the cars because also like, I realized that I like really obscure vehicles. Like the two cars I have are incredibly weird because I also have like an obscure like 80s commuter car. So it's like a yellow little triangle. So I think like I'm just like, this is how I express my personality. And then having just like an undercover car a little bit more, I don't know. It pained me to some extent, but I really love it. And I think it's also like, Volvo is Swedish, or now it's owned by a Chinese company, but it was founded in Sweden, and I'm from Sweden, and I'm having that like immigrant or like emigrant type of thing where I'm like suddenly just wanting to surround myself with Swedish things, which never happened when I lived there. But now when I've lived abroad for like 10 years, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe a Volvo.
There's an IKEA like 10 minutes from here. I can just hear the theme music and the Swedish meatballs playing. No, there's that makes a lot of sense. I started this car channel earlier in the year, and I wouldn't have always considered myself a car person. But then with all these EVs coming out, I slowly became an interested in the tech in cars type of person. So I wonder, to do the Truckla project, you had to at least be interested a little bit in obscure cars and doing projects with cars. But yeah, that was a pretty next level.
But I think it's also, I mean, with Truckla, because we had a whole team come on, like it was definitely, I was not a lone actor in that. So I had a lot of backup and expertise and people who could help me with it. But yeah, I kind of jumped into the deep end of like gearhead stuff.
Yeah,
where,
that
like,
was the deep end.
Yeah, because I like just gotten my driver's license like a year earlier or something. Because so I definitely didn't have like a strong car interest, and now I think they're amazing. Like I'm not. Yeah, but I've never had a gas vehicle, and I don't think. Yeah, there's still limited options.
Yeah, there will be. There's a whole generation growing up that will never own a gas car, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, put me in a gas station. I'm like, the.
So it's funny, in New Jersey, you specifically are not allowed to fill up your own gas. So there's this meme of like Jersey drivers going to other states and just like sitting in their car waiting for something to happen because what do you do? But that's EV drivers too. Just, what do I do? I rented a gas car. What do I do?
Granted, the charging stations are barely better.
Yeah.
Whereas,
oh yeah.
like they're all weird and they have like their apps and some never work. And there's definitely, I mean, the Tesla supercharger network is unparalleled and from like a user perspective, but all the other ones, it's
Also, last time I talked to you about Truckla, you couldn't supercharge, right?
I could. They never,
they never took it away.
No, they never took it away.
Oh, that's amazing. Because Tesla would not. I'm sure if they found out too much, they would not like to have that supercharging. But
the thing is, I think the project got protected by that it was a little bit too big for them to come after because they knew that I would have thrown a hissy fit online. And I think they just like kind of wanted to silence it as much as possible by like ignoring it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They sort of let it slide.
Yeah, so I think they let it slide. But I like scheduled a service appointment because I wasn't getting software updates or there was some like minor issue and they called me from the appointment center and they were like, we know who you are and we know what you've done to your car. And I got so spooked that I ended up just solving it myself.
That's so cool. That's funny. All right. Do you ever miss old YouTube? Like, I'm doing air quotes, old YouTube, old school YouTube?
I don't know if I've been on the platform long enough to be able to say that. I mean, I started my channel 2015.
So I think 2015 YouTube was very different from 2023 YouTube. Where, like, I'll give you a couple examples. One is like, there is some level now of like algorithmic, like I want to just optimize for the algorithm. You've seen these channels that just want to maximize views, and that's the whole point of the YouTube channel. Where I would say, I'd argue in 2015, especially our channel, it was like we had an idea for a video, we'd make it, and then as it was being uploaded, we were like, all right, we need a title and thumbnail too, right? Don't we? Oh, okay, let's think of this at the last second for packaging and then just push it out. I feel like that was a different time on YouTube. And I wonder if you, especially when you were starting, you kind of had this interesting vibe where you were making these projects, but you also had such a gap between them that each drop was like a big deal. And especially with Reddit, like Reddit would love every new project, and then there would be this sort of community around that, and it was just a different time, you know?
I think my relationship to thumbnails is inverted from yours because I used to care a lot more about it, and now I'm in my golden era on YouTube where I feel like I'm retired and I'm like, I'm just doing things for myself.
So you don't have over obsession on thumbnails anymore?
No. I mean, of course I'll like change it out midway if it's performing 10 out of 10. So like YouTube gives you this metric. I'm not explaining this to you, but to the viewer. YouTube gives you this pretty useful metric where it ranks your video's performance compared to the latest 10 videos that you've had. And whenever it's ranking like 9 or 10 out of 10, then you're like, oh, damn it. And then I might update the thumbnail. Yeah. But I think I was definitely like clout chasing a lot more before, and I was a lot better. So like my YouTube channel kind of started as an afterthought. Like I was mostly making GIFs. Like that was the core of the project. And every project I did was kind of built around being translated really effectively into a GIF.
Yeah.
So I was making all these like shitty robots. And it was all like, okay, how can this work in like a 7-second loop max without audio and people still understanding what it is? And then people started requesting like more video around it. So I was like, okay, I'll start making like a bigger video around it.
Right. Because wasn't your first one like a few seconds long? It was basically just the GIF in the video form.
Oh, GIF?
Sorry.
Really?
GIF. You're a GIF.
I'm a GIF.
Am I the
graphic? GIF.
Yeah. GIF. Okay. GIF.
Really?
So you're
I can't believe you said GIF, but you're not willing to die on the hill because I feel like the only people who say GIF are like ride or die GIF will tattoo it on their chest.
There's the peanut butter, which is JIF, which is GIF, right? So I guess I have to. All right, I argued against my own. All right, it's GIF. So, but your first video was like super short. It was just the project, and then people asked for more like how did you make it type things, background. Then you sort of like built video around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think think it's also so like my content has changed because what I used to do is I had the GIF of a project and then I would make a video of when I was filming the GIF and like playing with the machine. So I wouldn't document the build process at all because it's really intense from like a production standpoint. And I just wasn't ready to let people in on that clusterfuck of a process. And now when my videos or the projects that I do are less GIF friendly, like the build video has become a lot more important because there's no like, for example, with the puzzle table, there's not going to be a 15-minute video of me just showing how it works.
Yeah.
So like I kind of needed to add the build element into it to make it a worthy piece of content.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. I'm just going to have to ask you real quick before you head out to build a robot that hits the like and subscribe buttons one after the other. That's the only instructions you're going to get. The only materials you get to use are what's in front of you right now. Good luck.
Are you asking Simone to do that?
I'm asking whoever's watching to do exactly that and try to get to Simone's level. It's
what
probably
if
not going to be
Simone built a robot that thought of robot ideas and then she would never run out of YouTube videos? She just doesn't understand scale.
I don't think that you can... I don't think robots can think. You know?
Well, we know they're coming for David first.
Well, artificial
Artificial...
thinking.
Thinking.